it's a joy to see you again. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you, Kevin?
Good, good. It's been a little while since we collaborated last. Since then, you've written and published a book, started your own press, Ambitious Stories, and started your studies in an MFA creative writing program. How are things going?
Things are going great. I think we last collaborated in 2018 or 2017, around the time I graduated from ESU, actually. And of course, you're still the mega star poet that you are.
Thanks. That's nice of you.
Yeah.
I remember one of the things we got to do was read and perform music at Ellen Plum's City Bookstore when we were together last.
Yeah, that was fun. It's always fun to also have like music going too, like when you're performing poetry. And I remember doing collaborations with you where we would have a little bit of music going at the same time. I would play the piano and you would play the drums, I think. So it's always fun to do that.
Yes, I miss it. I really enjoyed making this poem with you. In some ways, it was kind of a unification poem trying to depict the diverse groups of people that Emporia State helps bring together. What are some of your thoughts on this poem and our process?
Yeah, I thought something that I really enjoyed while doing this poem was obviously just collaborating with you on it. But in addition to that, was trying to really capture the times of the Founders Day of Emporia State University, but also trying to connect it to our modern day and our modern age. So that was really interesting to try to figure out how to get that balance going. But I think we did a decent job at it.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and read our portion then, or the first little bit of this poem to get it kicked off.
Founders Day poem. When we were founded, they say the only books at hand were the Bible and the dictionary.
2 books at rest on one college schoolhouse desk.
When we were founded, they say on the first day of class, the second floor was lit with 18 teacher education students, 18 light bulbs that stand for that new beginning.
And now the books come in all kinds, from the slick book, perfect bound like a magazine full of colorful photos, to the dusty book bound in cloth with a tattered cover.
And the hands that pick up these books and hold them differ from those so many years ago. The hands of clay and dirt and sand of Mother Earth had children's cocoa hands, picking dried beans for Afro-Latin chocolate.
And sunflower hands, tanned from sun up to sundown, now plowing against the grain, alongside the buzzing of hornets, forming sweet home honeycombs, while beams of everlasting rays shine on all shades of all hands.
Even rough hands and smooth hands, hands that know the feel of shovel, how to lift and heft and return to the earth.
Hands that know keyboard click, the plastic computer keys, a kind of delicate fingertip dance.
Hands that know how to turn the wheel on a car or truck or boat so that you go where you want, where you need.
Hands that know how to palm a basketball or football, grip a flute or pencil, creating art on wood floors and green grass, the pet band accompanies. And the storyteller captures it all with swift strokes called time capsules that wait to be popped open in the future.
These hands take hold of other hands firmly, gently, to shake, to fist bump or rub, or to take hold with the arms in a hug, as hello, as goodbye.
Hello, Hornet Nation, and welcome to our annual Founders Day celebration. Today, I'm excited to celebrate the 158th birthday of ESU. And as much as we wish we could all be together in person, we're grateful that technology allows us to celebrate as one in a virtual environment. We have the opportunity to look toward the future when we can celebrate together again in person. I want to take a moment to express my gratitude to our faculty and staff for the many ways they provide our students an authentic and transformative college experience. Our campus campaign is taking place now through February 28th, and I want to give a special thank you to those who are able to and choose to give to support ESU. Your gifts express your passion for our mission and demonstrate that the ESU culture goes above and beyond for our students. Thank you for your support. In 158 years, Emporia State has grown and changed significantly. Each era of transformation has been unique and has been shaped in part by the concerns of our times. But always at the center of everything we do is a never-ending focus on creating the best possible experience for our students, for our faculty, staff, and community. Just within this past year, we've seen great changes to our campus. Abigail Morse Hall was completely renovated. The Prophet Aquatic Research and Outreach Center is nearing completion. A new Student Veterans Center will open this spring, and the Kossover Family Tennis Complex is under construction and expected to open this fall. You know, despite the hardships that the COVID pandemic has brought, Emporia State hasn't missed a beat in a number of key areas. We've had 3 years in a row of record student retention rates, 3 years in a row of record graduate student numbers. We've had a couple of years of the highest number of graduates in Emporia State's history. Our career placement rate continues to be phenomenal, and ESU students have had the lowest debt in the Kansas system since 2016. It is because of our dedicated faculty, staff, and students that we have continued with these successes. And for that, I say thank you. As we look forward, our future is so bright. Exciting projects that will provide our students with new and expanded opportunities to learn, to compete, to grow, and to share their skills are on the horizon. We ask you, Hornet Nation, to help us continue to strive toward excellence by sharing your Hornet pride with your family, friends, and both prospective and current students. Together we continue to move forward. Happy 158th Hornet Nation, and Stingers up.
We are ASG, and I am the ASG president, Braden Soper, and we are so excited to celebrate Founders Day with all of you. Every year, Emporia State pays tribute to the foresight of those Kansans who established the Kansas State Normal School in 1863. The first day of class was February 15th, 1865, with only 18 teacher education students meeting on the second floor of the district's local schoolhouse. In 2021, Founders Day celebrates ESU's 158th birthday virtually, so we can safely engage Hornet Nation in our founding. We come together to celebrate our efforts impacting Emporia State University, our university community, Lyon County, and the city of Emporia, and our Hornets throughout the world, to join together going forward hand in hand as we celebrate the founding of Emporia State.
Much has changed since I last had the honor of presenting the Founders Day Essay Awards. That last time was in February 2020, an ominous month in an ominous year. But Emporia State continues to celebrate its history and its students. Today, we once again honor, this time virtually, 2 of our Hornets for the quality of their writing. And at the same time, we honor once again our university for its ability to change lives. Most of you are familiar with the 1863 Founders Day Essay Competition. It's now in its 9th year. What began as an annual Christmas gift to the university president from the President's Community Advisory Council has metamorphosed into a gift to ESU students. President Allison Garrett is carrying on the tradition. We owe to the president and to that group much thanks. Each essay is judged by a panel of Row R Cross distinguished professors. The judging itself is exciting and challenging, and one never knows what treasures it will uncover. Both winners this year are graduate students. Last year's winners were both undergraduates, one of them a freshman. Go figure. This year, the judges were Dwayne Backus, Amy Sage-Webb-Baza, Galen Wolf-Bondonaro, David Eds, Harvey Foyle, Jim Hoy, Don Miller, Jim Persinger, Richard Schrock, Mars Sundberg, Ken Weaver, and Betsy Yannick. This is a tough bunch to please, and I don't want to let them get anywhere near my writing. This year, they evaluated 55 essays, and I'm deeply grateful for their work. I'm grateful as well to Gwen Larson, who this year, as she does every year, took charge of publicizing the contests, collecting the entries, then stripping the names to make them anonymous, and passing them along to me. Our second place award goes to Emily Boydston, now in her second semester as an online student working toward her MA in English. She lives in Joplin, Missouri, and she's the administrative assistant in the College of Business at Missouri Southern State University. Emily has been, among other things, a third grade teacher, a reporter, a communications director for an Indian tribe, a graphic designer, and a community relations coordinator for a hospital. She has children, adopted children, stepchildren, grandchildren, step-grandchildren, and great-grandchildren, all of whom are offended when she tells people that she loves her empty nest. Emily's story begins with the death of her disabled husband. She had begun a master's degree in business at Missouri Southern State to increase her income to better care for him. But although the degree was free because she worked there, the content was of no interest to her. She wanted a master's, not in business, but in English. Quoting her, "I began my research on what I wanted from a university, and that led me to Emporia State. ESU offered the degree I wanted, online at a reasonable cost. For the first time in quite a while, I was excited and had something to look forward to. The subject content was exciting. Online discussions were stimulating. And the faculty, so kind, so knowledgeable, so friendly, so supportive. The experience was exciting, but also challenging. And at times, my grief interfered with my ability to focus, be motivated, stay on deadline. Again, the faculty were kind and supportive." Emily goes on to explain that when her campus was closed because of the pandemic, she lost access to internet, having canceled her own as a cost-saving measure after her husband died. A hotspot from work helped some, but she says, "The only way I could communicate with my instructors was email on my phone. They were understanding, kind, and supportive, allowing me extra time for assignments. Then she was exposed to the coronavirus and had to quarantine at home, losing focus and motivation and falling behind. I needed a lot of mercy," she says, "and I received it from my instructors." Emily found that the challenges of 2020 and her own situation steered conversations with family and friends toward difficult topics. But in class, she says, "The discussion boards were an outlet for me to reach out and discuss with others who did not know I was recently widowed the topics we were studying, a subject other than coping with grief. The additional comments made by the instructors in the discussion boards added a richness and depth to my learning. My instructors were creative, and the materials they chose to include in the assignments were interesting and thought-provoking. They answered all my whining emails in a timely, professional, upbeat manner that helped me look forward, not back, at what I could do, not what I could not do. at what I was interested in, not what I tolerated, what my world, my mind, my future could be, not what I feared. Attending ESU has been life-changing for me at a time that I needed it most, a time when I needed to look forward in a way that is hopeful, in a way that is improving my mind and my life and my outlook. As second place winner, Emily Boydston receives an award of $863. Our first place award goes to Hazlitt Henderson, second-year student in library science. Hazlitt graduated from Swarthmore College with a degree in French and Francophone studies and Arabic language and literature. She's taught ESL students on Réunion Island, a French overseas department in the Indian Ocean, and she's taught primary students in Alexandria, Egypt. She currently works in the Lawrence Public Library, but that's not all she does. She gardens, she works on a farm in the summers, she volunteers at a suicide hotline, she volunteers with Habitat for Humanity, where she says she has learned all kinds of skills, and she works with the Lawrence Community Shelter. With so much extra time on her hands, she's learning Mandarin. Hazlitt's essay is entitled The Common Good. Hazlitt begins by winding back the clock to 2001, when her mother, a foreign language teacher facing loss of her job, began what Hazlitt calls a matrilinear professional tradition by enrolling in Emporia State's library science program. This tradition would, in Hazlitt's words, weave through public school classrooms wallpapered with French phrases, onto the story circle rugs of school libraries, into a chair at the public desk where neighbors come with their questions. The institutions that hold space for the formation of these chains are valuable in more ways than one. And so Emporia and Slim changed my family's life at first. Hazlitt discusses the often prohibitive cost of entering many professions, sometimes with promise of only modest wages after graduation. Librarianship is no different, she says, unless a creative cohort of fair-minded administrators and faculty come together to establish a program that holds onto its quality and yet adapts the traditional classroom model in favor of accessibility and collaborative virtual space. Truly, Emporia is the gold standard here. Not only has the flexibility built into the program allowed Slim students across the country to weather school in the pandemic with relative ease, it has also hatched an international learning space in which diverse perspectives meet in inquiry. I continue to quote, moving forward in time, "The year is now 2018. My mother remains in her library, but I am in Egypt, Alexandria, the ancient home of libraries, teaching a classroom of children with less than success. I visit the Alexandria Library, wander through shelves and exhibits, think of my mother. Think of Emporia, even though I had only been once, and of Kansas. Consider rigidity in teaching and ambiguity in learning. Weigh home against the world. Then I return to Kansas. I enroll at Emporia. I wanted to be a librarian. I wanted to be in Kansas. Given those conditions, Emporia fell perfectly into place. The school gave me the chance to reroute my life away from possible lives involving visas and long flights, and toward intentional placemaking, mutual aid, and local knowledge. I can imagine how many lives Emporia has affected in equally dramatic fashion. First-generation college students encouraged by the university's steady outreach. Newly trained teachers strengthened in resolve by the Memorial for Fallen Educators. Green business students hoping to solve social ills through private enterprise. In Emporia's case, the cultural slant is clear. In engaging with the university, our lives are changed for the common good. As I near the end of my coursework, I consider where my time with Emporia has steered me. My network of classmates, teachers, and mentors. My solid foundation in librarianship's principles. I now know something of another piece of my state. I stood in William Allen White's home. I mourn the loss of Ellen Plum's city bookstore. But I think mostly of my mother and my mirroring her steps of nearly 20 years ago. Thanks to Emporia, we were both able to pursue new directions, to change our lives for the common good. As first place winner, Hazlitt receives an award of $1,000.
The 1863 essays are one of my favorite traditions, and each year I look forward to hearing these exceptional stories of Emporia State students. Dr. Storm, thank you for sharing these stories with us today and for all of your work to help us facilitate this contest annually. Another one of my favorite traditions is celebrating a group of people who hold Emporia deep in their hearts. They share in the vision that our founders had, and they believe in the vision of Emporia State University to change lives for the common good. So much so that they have chosen to make it a part of their own legacy. I am talking, of course, about the women and men of our Lyman B. Kellogg Society. The members of this society have placed us in their will, trust, or beneficiary designation, and by so doing, they are investing in future Hornets, students and faculty alike. We are so proud to say that we have 370 current members in the Kellogg Society, and I would like today to recognize our newest members and thank them for letting us know about their commitment within the past year. At this time, we would also like to remember those special members whom we have lost in the last year. We will remain forever grateful to them for making Emporia State a part of their everlasting legacy. Thank you.
It wouldn't be a birthday party without cake, or in our case, cupcakes. I'm honored today to be joined by some very special guests. Our ASG President, Braden Soper, Student Ambassador President, Maite Garcia, and Vice President, Lizzie Murray, as well as Ken and Marilyn Buckley, who are charter members of the Lyman B. Kellogg Society. It has been our tradition to ask someone from each one of these special groups to cut the cake each year at our Founders Day luncheon. We remember our history, we stand proudly and gratefully in the present, and we look ahead with a shared vision for ESU's continued success. Collectively, we would like to wish ESU a very happy birthday. Today we light our candles as a symbol of unity to show that even though we are worlds apart, we still move forward together toward a brighter future. Thank you for joining us today. Happy birthday, ESU. And as always, Stingers up. Birthdays are such a wonderful time to stop and reflect. We celebrate where we've come from and all that we have seen and done. Emporia State has grown from the humble roots of a one-room schoolhouse into a proud institution, always in service to others and devoted to changing lives for the common good. We stand on the shoulders of those who came before us and worked hard to make their dreams for Emporia State come true. There is no better time than a birthday to look forward to the future. It is time to cast our eyes to the horizon and for us to dream together. Where do we want to go and how do we want to get there? We know that we have a strong foundation here at Emporia State, and our students are our focus. They are truly seen, cared for, and nurtured on their educational journey. Our faculty get to know our students more than just learning our names. They learn our students' strengths and weaknesses, their dreams, and where their talents could lead them. Emporia State faculty and staff use that knowledge to guide our students toward opportunities for their own growth and progress. And now we are ready to be bold and build on something even greater than this foundation, because we can do even more. Today, I'm announcing the public launch of Emporia State's fundraising campaign, Together Forward. We have an ambitious mission. We want to provide real-world experiences that prepare students for a complex world. This means expanding the amazing work we already do in providing high-impact learning experiences for our students. And it means that those opportunities are not just available, but accessible to all of our students. Because together, we can accelerate learning. We want to attract the best and the brightest in the arts and athletics, recognizing and encouraging students who have been committed to their sport or their art or their talent helps those students achieve new heights. Because together, we will all shine brighter. We want to seize every opportunity. Support of the new Together Forward Fund will allow us to adapt, align, and evolve. This unrestricted support ensures that when deserving ideas come up, we can carry them forward because together we can transcend limitations. We have an ambitious goal. We are committed to reaching $50 million in the next several months. In the silent phase of the campaign, we're already much of the way there, so we have a little further to go, but we are ready here at Emporia State to link arms with our alumni and friends and move forward to the brighter days of the future. We know that we can get there when we work together. Join us. Share your pride. Be part of the experience. Help us create new stories. Join us and light the way together forward.
Now more than ever is the time to come together, be bold, visionary, to move bravely forward, dive into experience and expand opportunities, ensuring access for all. Now is the time to dig deep and aim high, because a better tomorrow is waiting on us. A brighter future is within our reach, because now is the time to lift our eyes, raise our expectations, surpass our imaginations. We can get there if we go together. Together Forward, the campaign for Emporia State University.
Hello, I am Shane Shively, Emporia State University Foundation President and CEO. Welcome and good afternoon. A celebration of this magnitude should come with cake and a special announcement. And I believe ESU has hit it out of the ballpark on those two fronts. Kudos to the Alumni Association and all those talented individuals involved in creating and hosting a virtual 2021 Founders Day celebration. Hornet Nation, as you have heard, we have set our sights to top $50 million of privately invested gifts over the next few months. Spoiler alert, I would like to see campus abuzz at Homecoming 2021 with an opportunity to share more great news. We have reason to be optimistic, but know it is going to take everyone together to mobilize this effort forward. Emporia State alumni and friends have been tremendously generous and have shown their confidence in our value in our first class ESU experience. We have raised $42 million to date. This is an impressive accomplishment in the environments, especially of late. We are Hornet strong, and we are prepared to make a statement. It is with confidence that Emporia State establishes a bold goal with an aggressive timeline to show the world what is possible. Within this campaign leadership phase, we will be inviting our most loyal and influential alumni and friends to proudly rally together for this incredible cause. From all of us, thank you. Thank you to all of the donors that have given from the heart to get us to this point. You make an incredible difference. I'm not even sure that you all are aware. A few housekeeping rules before we start this portion of the program. We expect and actually encourage questions and comments to surface throughout the remainder of this program. We will get to as many of those as we can during our time together. Also expect to see additional details about the Together Forward campaign, a campaign for Emporia State University in the very near future. If you would like to submit questions, go to our website, emporia.edu/live, and submit your questions at any time. To help expand on the initiatives of Together Forward, a campaign for Emporia State University, we are joined by many representatives of Hornet Nation. So without further ado, it is my honor to introduce the president of Emporia State University, Dr. Allison Garrett.
Thank you so much, Shane. And what a pleasure it is to be today. Thank you. I'm out of busy days to look into the future with Emporia State, but also to celebrate the historic past of this amazing university. We're so honored that you've joined us today. You know, as we step forward into the Together Forward campaign, I have to tell you that I am so excited to work closely with Shane Shively and with our foundation. We have a terrific team at the ESU Foundation. We should be so grateful for all of the hard work that they have clearly been doing over these last couple of years since we ended the prior campaign. We are excited about the Together Forward campaign and all that it entails. And I want to give you just a little bit of a teaser and share a little bit with you about what some of your colleagues and your friends will be talking to you over the next few minutes about. You know, this campaign has three pillars, really three things that we believe are crucial for the future of Emporia State University. The first is continuing our efforts to invest in high impact learning. That is something that is so incredibly important to the students here at Emporia State. It makes a real difference in the caliber of the experience that every student gets. And you all know that ESU already provides a terrific experience for our students here at the university, but we're excited about the opportunity to invest in other kinds of experiences. Our provost, David Cordell, will be sharing a little bit about that along with Angela Fullen from the foundation. Let me also just pause briefly to note that David Cordell, who has served as our provost for many years and who has done an absolutely phenomenal job, is retiring at the end of this academic year. And we are so pleased for David, but we will certainly miss him. So David and Angela will share about high impact learning experiences. Dean Brent Thomas and Coach Garen Higgins will talk about talent awards, which are so important for any university. When we talk about talent awards, we're talking about awards to students in the form of scholarships that really recognize the skills that those students have cultivated, whether it's theater or debate or music or something in athletics. Those investments in our students based on the talents that they've developed are so incredibly important. Then I'll spend just a moment talking about the Together Forward Fund, which is the third pillar of this campaign. And then we'll move on to one of the most exciting parts of every single Founders Day, and that is the awarding of the 1863 scholarships. So with that little bit of a teaser, I want to turn things over now to David Cordell and Angela Fullen to share more about high impact learning with you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Thank you, President Garrett. First, I'd like to start with a definition. When we say high impact learning, we're talking about learning experiences outside the traditional classroom, where students take what they've learned and apply it in practical, hands-on ways. That takes different forms in different fields. For a student in the sciences or in the arts, it might be a research project or a creative project under the supervision of a faculty member. For a business or an education student, it might be an internship or a student teaching placement. For a history or modern languages major, it might be a study abroad. And for any student, it could be a leadership experience, either on campus or in the community, that's guided by a faculty or a staff member. So why is high impact learning important? Well, it's because this kind of applied learning makes the light come on for students. This is where it gets real for them. By working side by side with a faculty or staff mentor or with a supervisor in a workplace, students learn how professionals do science or history or artistic work or business. And at the same time, they learn critical thinking, problem solving, and communication skills, team building skills. These are the skills that apply to any kind of work and skills that they're going to be using for the rest of their lives. High impact learning isn't a new idea for ESU. Our science faculty have been getting students involved in research for decades, and the quality of the student-teacher experience in our Teachers College is legendary. But we want to make these high impact experiences available to as many students as we possibly can. So Angela, I'd like to invite you now to add some of your perspective on high impact learning.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Cordell. One of the many things that I absolutely love about Emporia State University is the high impact learning opportunities that we do have available for our students. And like you said, what makes us so unique is that we offer these experiences even at the freshman level. Like you mentioned before, hands-on learning in each department looks different. But I can't think of very many people that have said that they chose their career path because of a worksheet they did in their classroom. High impact learning experiences are those activities that may give you goosebumps or give you that feeling in your gut that makes you think, oh my goodness, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life. And maybe you had a high impact learning experience when you were on campus. Emporia State has been doing this for a long time, and we currently have a wide variety of high impact learning experiences that we offer our students. For example, some specific examples might be being a part of our theater production as they travel to Minnesota to perform for a regional showcase performance, or being a student teacher and having your experience with a mentor that is a National Teachers Hall of Fame member in Washington, D.C., or taking Erica Martin's biology class and studying specific research and then being published in a national magazine, or even traveling to England with Dr. Mel Storm's English class that he takes every summer. However, as we continue to move forward, our dreams are big. We want every student to experience some level of high impact learning during their college experience at Emporia State. And we don't want any financial obstacle to stand in their way. It's going to take a team effort. It's going to take a together effort. We want to provide funds that are available to do a wide variety of things, but more specifically, some examples might be to provide state-of-the-art equipment for our pre-med students, possibly room and board assistance for our student teachers, furnish art supplies for our aspiring artists, or even travel assistance for accounting internships. The list of possibilities is endless. But remember, transformational, holistic learning, inspiring, real-world experience, that's high impact learning at Emporia State University. Dr. Cordell, I think it's a great day to be a part of Hornet Nation, and I proudly invite everyone to join us. Practicing social distancing, of course, as we move together forward.
Thank you so much, Angela. And this initiative that we call High Impact Learning, it is a perfect fit for ESU. It fits our history. It fits our student-centered culture. Now, it does require resources, but the benefits for students are enormous. I'd just like to share with you what biology professor Erica Martin said about high impact learning. Erica said, "I want my students to leave the university not only knowing things, but knowing what to do with the things they've learned." Erica got it just right. High impact learning helps us prepare our students for the lifelong learning, rewarding careers, and adaptive leadership, just like we say in our mission statement. So thanks for your attention as Angela and I shared with you some thoughts about one of our favorite things. I'm going to hand off now to Arts and Sciences Dean Brent Thomas and head football coach Garen Higgins. They're going to talk with you about pillar number 2.
Hello, everyone. It's so great to be here. Thank you, Shane. Thank you, Allison and David, for inviting Coach Higgins and I to be a part of this. Talent-based scholarships are really important for ESU. Most of our students come to college to discover and develop their talents. Some, however, have already dedicated years to their sport, their art, or their craft before they ever set foot on our campus. At Emporia State, we want to recruit gifted athletes, musicians, artists, and actors, and we believe in what they are capable of, and we believe they deserve to be rewarded. Nothing builds confidence faster than being recognized for your accomplishments, and confidence has a way of building on itself.
As peer-to-peer mentors, these students serve as an example of what is possible through dedication and practice. We have athletes that we are able to recruit that raise the bar, that are examples of what it means to be successful. And if we're able to keep our players here with retaining them, then they're able to graduate and to go and then to go and leave and be successful in society. And ultimately, that's what we want. These players help our culture. And we have one of the highest retention rates in the MIAA. Our players don't leave, they stay here because it's important to them, and it's important for us as coaches to recruit what we call OKGs, our kind of guys that are going to fit in here at Emporia State, guys that understand that that we want to graduate. So I am very honored to speak to you today on this campaign. So Dr. Thomas, I'm going to hand it off, throw you a pass so you can carry this forward.
Thanks, Coach. Competitive scholarship resources are necessary to recruit students who possess advanced and unique capabilities. Their presence improves our programs and inspires their peers. We know when we offer these students competitive talent-based scholarships, they will bring their light to ESU, and together we will shine brighter.
As I said, retention helps us become successful in football. It also, if you have a successful athletic program in general, brings our campus and community together. And I think that is so important, especially in this day and times. Our conference, to be able to be competitive in the MIAA, which hands down is the most competitive conference in the country. We have to be able to be competitive in recruiting. And as I said, it's not about recruiting the most talented players on film. It's about recruiting the most talented players that will fit in here and that will want to become successful, which in turn will help our program and our athletic programs become successful.
It's very similar in the creative and visual and performing arts. The creative power of the arts is front and center at ESU and in our community. And we have students and ensemble groups in theater, music that are invited to participate in some very prestigious concerts, events, competitions. and our students perform well in those environments. So we want that to continue. Here at ESU, we prepare our students for rewarding careers as visual artists, theater professionals, musicians, composers, and more. Recognizing and rewarding their passionate commitment to the arts will strengthen this tradition.
It will, and with your support, we have to continue to raise the bar. I've been coaching for over 25 years now, and do I love to win games? There's no question. Do I want to win a conference championship? No question. But the things that I look at are examples of players that are able to get an opportunity that maybe they would not have had if we were not able to give them a talent-based scholarship. And when you have someone, and I'm going to use this individual as an example, Mitch Foote, who was a great player for us, caught a lot of passes out in Welch Stadium. The most important thing to me is he was raised by his grandmother. He was able to come here on a football scholarship. He graduated. Not only was he an all-conference player, but he graduated and went on to become a successful high school coach. And I got a text from his grandmother yesterday that she had a picture of Mitch coaching, and that meant the world to me. So how great is it for us as Emporia State fans, alumni, to be able to give individuals, student athletes, an opportunity to be a part of something special. And we have to continue to enhance our competitiveness in the MIAA. There's no question about that. We have to make it stronger. And we cannot accomplish this success. It's just like I tell my team, we cannot accomplish this success without doing it together. And I know that together we can shine brighter. And I want to thank everyone. It's been an honor for me as an alum to speak to you today. Stingers up.
Thanks so much, Coach. Stingers up. We're going to move forward together. This is very exciting stuff, and we're going to need your help, and we appreciate your continued support. And with that, I'll kick it back to President Garrett to talk with us about the third pillar of the next campaign.
Well, thank you so much, Coach Higgins and Dean Thomas. It is wonderful to hear you all talk about your passion for ESU students and creating opportunities, because that is something that ESU really excels in. And if we can invest in those talent-based awards, the sky's the limit. We have incredible students who come to Emporia State to exercise their gifts, whether those are athletic or band or theater or debate, and are so proud of them. Well, the third pillar of the Together Forward campaign is the creation of a Together Forward fund. You know, as I think about this last year, there's a particular descriptor that I think has perhaps been overused, but it really does apply, and that is the term unprecedented. In the middle of a global pandemic, ESU has had to do unprecedented things. We've had to be nimble, and we've had to stretch. As I think about the Together Forward Fund, it really is an investment that allows ESU to continue to be nimble in the future. Think about some of the opportunities that may come our way during any given year. If the football team makes the playoffs, which they have done several times in the last few years, it's wonderful to be able to send the Hornet Review, our band, down to support the team. If we have students who win a competition and qualify to go perform in Spain, we want to give them that opportunity. And that opportunity to travel for those kinds of events takes money. Sometimes, too, we have opportunities to invest in new technology. Something that we've been particularly good at in the last 3 or 4 years is the creation of new programs. But we have to make investments in order to create new programs at a time when like so many other institutions, we're facing funding challenges from our state. And so the Together Forward Fund really is a fund that helps us ensure ESU's continued application and relevance and gives us that opportunity to be nimble as we move into the future. Well, now we're going to transition to what is my favorite time of every Founders Day event, and it is my favorite time for two different reasons. First, because we get to hear the personal stories of some of our amazing students. I'm frequently moved to tears when I hear their stories each year. But second is because the inimitable Mel Storm, a professor of English here at Emporia State, is in charge of the essay competition every year and does such a marvelous job of sharing some of the work that is being done by ESU students. And so with that introduction, I will pass it over to Dr. Storm. Stingers up.
Thank you, President Garrison. This is an unusual Founders Day celebration. In many respects, there's a bit of a downside to it. It's a little challenging doing this virtually, but I realize there is one upside. Generally, after the presentations are made, end of the luncheon, we all go our separate ways. And I know a lot of people who meet our students, see them on stage, and hear me talk about them a bit, really want to learn a little bit more. Well, this time, because we're virtual, we are in the position of having this little after gathering, whatever we will call this. And I have one of this year's winners with us. Emily Boydston, the second place winner, was here on the board a little while ago, but she disappeared. But I think we do have, I know we do have Hazlitt Henderson, first year winner. We have Jack Jewett, who was the first place winner a year ago, and someone we've not seen for a long time, and that's Abraham Kayali, who was the 2015 winner, whose essay I expect those of you who heard, I have the feeling that you have not forgotten it. I want to sort of move backward here, starting with this year, and talking a little bit to Hazlitt. Hazlitt has had a kind of unusual life the last few years. I teach a course in Greek mythology, and one of the things that I end up talking about every year is what's sometimes called the hero's journey, where someone leaves home, leaves a place of comfort, goes to some distant place of testing and trial, ultimately comes back home, presumably changed from that. I suppose that's the ultimate of a high impact learning experience. Hazlitt's career has been very much of that kind. Beginning in Kansas, Baldwin City, and Lawrence by way of Swarthmore College in Pennsylvania. She went to a little island off the coast of Africa in the Indian Ocean, where she worked with students. Ended up. Next step was was Alexandria in Egypt, where she taught. From Egypt back to Kansas, and specifically back to Emporia. And I don't know, Hazlitt, you've had an interesting career. As I think about the things that you have done, I'm drawn to what you have done abroad. Could you talk a little bit about those experiences? I didn't even know where Réunion Island was until I read your biography.
Yeah, there's certainly not a lot of Americans who I encounter who know about Reunion Island right off the bat. But I guess out of my undergraduate career, I was considering going into libraries or going into teaching. And since I'd studied French and Arabic as an undergraduate, I thought that I would give teaching a try, right? Like go a little bit farther from home at first and see where that took me.
Tell us about Réunion Island and what you did while there.
For sure, yeah. So Reunion Island is one of the overseas departments of France. It's about 1 million people, and it's the only one that's still, out in the Indian Ocean off the coast of Madagascar. I was a teaching assistant to English teachers in 2 high schools while I was there. So mostly interacting with, ESL students, kind of exchanging, you know, their English wasn't great, my French wasn't fantastic at this point, so kind of exchanging maybe like nonverbal communication as much as communicating with each other with words. Yeah, and I was there for about 7 months, so it was really a fantastic time.
And what led you from there to Egypt?
Yeah, so I went to Reunion in part to work on my French, right, and also some Creole. But I studied Arabic for 4 years as an undergraduate, and 4 years is not enough time to really become fluent in Arabic. Anyone will tell you that, particularly because there are a lot of dialects of Arabic. And so what you study in the US tends to be the modern standard dialect, which won't get you very far, you know, talking to someone in Egypt or in Morocco or in Jordan. So I went to Egypt in part because I wanted to have some more teaching responsibilities, right? I wanted to learn some more about what it was like to be in a classroom, whether that was what I wanted to, you know, do, what I wanted to pursue. But I also wanted to, you know, learn more about Arabic, get better at speaking Arabic so that I could, better, you know, see where that took me.
Now that you're back here, do you have a chance to get to practice your Arabic very much?
Yeah, you'd think not, but I mean, since I'm in Lawrence, there is maybe not a sizable, but there is, you know, some percentage of people in Lawrence who come from Arabic-speaking countries, particularly Saudi Arabia at KU. And I'm also, so I work at the public library in Lawrence, and we just started collecting an Arabic world language collection. So I just started selecting books for that collection, which doesn't entail, you know, speaking a lot of Arabic, but I do still get to use some of the skills that I learned.
I think that in some information you sent me, you said that you were very much into do-it-yourself work, and you have a new house to practice on.
That's true. Yeah, I mean, in this room, I'm in my office here, and you know, this maybe isn't super impressive for people who actually know about construction or actually have experience like doing things, but I just hung a bunch of shelves on the walls here with lots of brackets. So that's my latest experience.
And you're into mending or teaching how to mend something, I think, involving, it sounded to me like sewing.
Yeah, so repair cafes are kind of a movement that have sprung up, I think originally in Netherlands, and they've moved kind of around the world. And often they're hosted at libraries. So we sometimes host a repair cafe. I mean, I sometimes host a repair cafe at the library, and we also have a monthly mending circle. Yeah, and I just really like repair and mending, right, because it allows us to conserve resources.
You certainly, given your experience and given Abraham's presence here and given Jack's essay a year ago, have a kind of international cast to what is going on. Some of you may remember that Jack's essay, the winner of the 2020 contest, was called, and I hope I pronounced this right, it's the Korean word for I love you, Salangai? Is that at all close, Jack?
I think it's Salonghae.
Salonghae.
But I don't think my pronunciation is too good either.
Much, much better. Could you tell us why that was the title of your essay?
Yeah, so in the fall last year, I started working as a community hornet, and part of my job was to work in GIVE, which is an organization for international students. It stands for Getting Involved in Volunteering in Emporia. So international students can come get their volunteer hours in that organization. So I started to develop a real love for international students and their passion, just being in the United States and learning. And I also had a floor mate who was from South Korea, and I just love learning about language. I study English here, and one of the things that she taught me in Korean was Salonghae, which means I love you. So that was the title of the essay.
And I think I had not heard of the, GIVE is the acronym, right?
Yes.
And again, that stands for Getting Involved in Volunteering in Emporia, with a fairly substantial international component in terms of the people who are involved. I remember also from last year that you had quite a substantial range of potential directions you were going to go in life, from politics to foreign affairs. Where do you stand this year? By the way, I should mention to everyone, I think that Jack is the only freshman ever to win the award, or even to place in the award. So we're pretty proud of him for that. What are your goals and plans now? Have they changed from last year?
I mean, yeah, definitely. I think maybe that's part of the risk of a freshman winning, is that their life just has less direction at that point. So, when COVID hit, right, I think everyone's life changed drastically. And I really had to rethink, what was I prioritizing? So just in that, like going home back to Wichita, and just kind of being alone and rethinking, like, where was my life going to go? And I'll just, try to be honest. I realized that the most important thing was my soul. And so I found, like, coming back to school this year, that my number one thing I needed to do was get back involved with devotion to my God, which is the God of the Bible. So I just found so much more contentment. I've never felt so much more fulfillment and satisfaction in my life. So I don't know where my life is going to go from that. I might continue to study English, but there might be a ministry calling there. I'm not sure. But yeah, I just felt a lot more contentment and less ambition in that.
Well, you have the advantage, a great advantage over me, in that you have a lot of time in which to make turns, to change, to grow into new things. We have two Kansans with us. We also have a Syrian who now is living in California, and that is Abraham Kayali, whose essay, as I mentioned before, many of you probably recall. I'll have Abraham talk a bit about what he is doing now, what he's done since he left Emporia, having been the 2015 winner. But just as a bit of nostalgia for everyone, I thought that I might read a kind of excerpt of Abraham's essay that I read these many years ago, and that has been a while since we were last together. Abraham is, as I mentioned, from Syria. He has not been back to Syria for, sadly, quite a long time now. And he came here under very challenging circumstances. His essay had the rather dramatic beginning of involving a bombing. And this will take only a moment. I excerpted his essay back in 2015. I have cut my excerpt down substantially, but this is one that many will remember. His essay was called City of Science and Blood, and it was about his home in Aleppo, Syria. From death to life, from hell to heaven, in short, is my story. My name is Abraham. I am from the Death City, from Aleppo, Syria. I was living with my mother and with my two brothers. My city is the oldest city in the world. It is a beautiful city, but not anymore. In 2013, my brothers got the opportunity to travel to the USA and continue their study at ESU. In March, the government attacked our building with a huge rocket, and I saw death in my eyes. More than 30 people died there that day. I cannot forget the blood smell. I cannot forget the 3-year-old boy on the floor. When I saw him dying, I couldn't help him in time. I was trying to save my mother's life. After 1 year, in 2014, the Free Army shot our building by rocket. So a year later, another bombing. They said it was a mistake. The rocket hit the kitchen. Unfortunately, my mother was in the kitchen. When you live in Syria, you will learn some kinds of feeling that are worse than fear. You will learn how to believe in death, how to surrender to death. And you will close your eyes without any resistance and get ready for death. No one knows it except the Syrian. Shortly after, he saw his mother sleeping on the floor, and I thought that she died. Our neighbors took me back from her body, and they took her to the hospital. And after 2 hours, I heard that she was still alive. For me, this 2 hours, it was like 2 years. After this accident, we realized that we will not survive the next time, and we decided to find a way to leave our life and to keep our life and leave the country. And here's where Emporia State comes in. After 1 week, I got a phone call from my brother who studies at ESU, and he told me that I am accepted at Emporia State University. It was the best day of my life. I got the hope which connected me with life again. My mother decided to go with me to the USA. We collected all our money and we sold everything to be able to start a new life. We traveled to Turkey to apply for visas at the embassy. Fortunately, they accepted me. Unfortunately, they refused my mother because they said that she is too old. She was 51 years old. Now she is in the death city. Now she is in the death city, Aleppo, in a dangerous place. I came to the USA in Emporia on August 2014. I saw my brothers again after 3 years. God gave me a new life. My first dream is to see my mother again, to hug her just one more time, to kiss her feet and her hands. He ends, I just want to share my story with you, and I want to say thank you, USA. Thank you, Emporia, for giving me all the great gifts. And please pray for my mother, pray for Syria. Now I am a Hornet and my future is with ESU. This was 2015. And Abraham, I know that a lot of people out there who heard your essay those few years ago would very much like to know where things stand now. I know a bit because you've told me, but perhaps you could bring people up to date.
Yeah, sure. I'm a little emotional, sorry. So yeah, after I finished my study at ESU, I got accepted at University of Southern California and started my master's degree in nanoelectronics. Graduated in 2019, and now I work for Western Digital as a hardware design engineer. I design hard drives and SSDs here in California. Yeah.
Your career path really has moved in the direction that you hoped once you left here. It seems to me that you've been pretty much on a straight line. And what about your family?
Yeah, I have my two brothers also. After I moved to California, like after all what happened with the family, like they didn't want to be separated, so they also moved to California. So they live pretty close to me. My mom's still back home, like we're still trying to get her here, but I don't want to get into politics, but it's kind of difficult. And right now we're hoping like stuff changes.
We hope things will indeed change. You waited a long time, and you have not been able to see her in the interim, have you?
No, like I cannot travel, and she cannot like come here. So we're hoping like in the future, hopefully.
How do you like life in California?
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing. The weather is amazing here. It's very diverse place. Really, there's a lot of stuff to do. Back home, like Aleppo, like it's one of the biggest cities in Syria. So I'm used to the city life, the busy life. So yeah, I'm loving it. It's really awesome.
With weather a little different from what we're having in Kansas these days, if you have been watching the news.
Yeah, I've been praying for you guys, hoping this storm ends soon, and you all stay safe. Yeah.
Do you ever get the opportunity to return to Kansas to visit?
I did visit. I think when did I visit? It was around 2018 or so. Yeah, I came, and like Kansas is amazing. Like I spent like 3 days. I was meeting people every 15 minutes. So I went to the coffee shop and was it called Java Cat previously, and like just meeting people. And I also have my American mom, Susan Flower, who lived there also. I spent a lot of time with her. I would like to say thanks for her for all her help, and during my journey, we still communicate until now. She still sends me care packages. So Emporia was a blessing for sure, and a place I will never forget.
I think there are a lot of people on this screen and a lot of people out there in the audience who will agree with me in telling you that you always have a home, you always have friends and family when you come back to Emporia. Well, this is a singular thrill for me to be able, actually, after the presentation ceremony is over, to talk for a few minutes to our winners. and it's a great treat to be able to see Abraham once again. Before I turn the program back, I would like to just take a few seconds and thank some people who have helped me a great deal this year getting ready for a most unusual and somewhat challenging Founders Day. Tiffany Wilson, Sarah Eimer, and like every year, Gwen Larson, who has been a tremendous help to me. And I will turn this, I will turn the program back. Thank you so much for joining me, students.
Dr. Storm, thank you so much for your time and dedication for such a great cause. It's great to hear those stories and such just a great time to walk down memory lane to see some of our students. They haven't changed a bit. Jack, I know you were young as you received the scholarship, but some of you 2015 and haven't changed a bit. That's incredible. We have received a few questions, but I would encourage the audience, if they haven't done so already, to log on to emporia.edu/live and go ahead and submit those questions, and we will sift through those. If we don't get to them all today, we'll make sure that we do respond in a timely manner. So I am going to sift through these questions and present them, deliver them to who I believe could answer the question most appropriately. So please help me do this. The first question, Dr. Cordell, I'm gonna ask you to respond to this. How did ESU identify these projects as the top priority?
Thank you, Shane. There's been a lot of discussion about that, but you know, as we sifted through possibilities for what we wanted to designate as our priorities for the campaign, I think the first consideration was strategic plan. What are the things that we already had identified as strategic priorities for the university? And then I think in addition to that, we tried to be very thoughtful about what would have the greatest impact on the university and particularly on the university students. And a third consideration that was always there in our thinking is that we want priorities that will resonate with the Hornet Nation as a whole. Not just the faculty, students, and staff who are here now, but our alumni, our friends in the community. So those were some of the things that we tried to bear in mind.
Very good, thank you. The next one, Dean Thomas. I'm going to assign this one to you, and you can bounce it around as we need to. What are some of the specific projects, when you think about high impact learning, that within your area, liberal arts and sciences, that you would like to see become reality?
Well, Shane, you know, there's the list of possibilities is rather lengthy. You know, as David and Angela had noted, high impact experiences are something that this university and our college in particular have a very long, rich tradition in providing for our students. But you know, many of those items do cost money, and we're going to need extra resources to continue and build upon those rich traditions and take them to the next level. You know, the projects in the sciences require travel if you're doing field work. Projects in the laboratory requires supplies, consumable materials that have to be purchased. Study abroad, writing intensive courses, hands-on activities, the very deep and rich experiences that our students get in theater and the performing arts and the visual arts. You know, our students do not learn glass blowing by watching videos. You know, they learn glass blowing by actually doing it. So, you know, literally the list of possible funding opportunities that could help move us forward into bigger and better opportunities in terms of high impact learning is rather lengthy.
Very good. Thank you, Dean Thomas. Coach Higgins, are you still there? There he is. He hadn't gone to practice yet. 25 years of coaching experience, and he never recruited me. But that's okay. I'm almost over it. Hey, this question.
Watch your film. Why?
Watch my VHS tape. I understand. Hey, this question is for you. With the recent football signing day, how would additional athletic scholarship impact the recruiting process?
Well, for us, not necessarily more scholarships, but more scholarship money would be able to help us be like every Saturday we strap it up. It's going to be competitive in the MIAA. Okay. Well, when you get into recruiting, it's the same type of competitiveness. So what it would allow for us and for athletics in general would be for us to be as competitive in the state in recruiting talent as recruiting talent out of state. And of course, we want to get the best homegrown talent we can. But there are numerous other schools and junior colleges here in this state, and it is college athletics. So you got to be able to go and recruit and be able to get players that can help your program that may not be from the state of Kansas.
Very good. I've actually got a follow-up question coming from a different audience member, but the question is, we've talked a little bit about endowed scholarships, or maybe they've actually met with somebody here at the foundation to talk about an endowed scholarship. In order to make a difference for your program, does the gift have to be an endowed scholarship?
It doesn't necessarily have to be an endowed scholarship. Of course, if you choose to do that, and it is special for, alums to put their name on something. At the same time, there are term scholarships, which is basically money that we can use now, scholarship money that we can use now. And of course, we're on the front lines each and every day. So both helps our program. Of course, I definitely, being the head coach, want to be able to have money now that we can go out and compete now with.
Very good. Angela Fullen. Angela, this question I'm gonna toss your direction, and you may toss it right back to me. That's okay. Audience member wants to know, I'm interested in setting up a family scholarship, and they don't specify whether that's endowed or term, but does that fit within these campaign priorities?
Well, that is a great question. And that kind of all depends. We'd have to talk about the criteria behind that. What is the kind of impact that you're wanting to make with your fund? And it may very well fit in these priorities. But, these are our top priorities. And as we talk with donors and supporters of Emporia State, as we continue to go forward and reach out to people to talk about this campaign, we're going to lead with these three priorities. But then it is always, what is the donor's intent? What is it that you want to do for Emporia State? How do you want to make an impact or a legacy at your alma mater? So I welcome that discussion anytime.
Very good. What I heard you say is all gifts count.
That's what I say. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Well stated. David, another question I think we'll start with you on is with these three priorities, there doesn't seem to be, at least for now, any facility or structural type initiatives. Where does the university stand in kind of the master planning? I think that's what they're talking about. Is we've got a number of facilities either close to being done or in process. But from a facility standpoint, how does this campaign lay over the top of where we're going?
Shane, I'll be happy to give you my perspective on that, but after I do so, I would invite maybe you or others to fill in from the foundation's perspective. I think with any campaign that I have ever been associated with, whether it's explicitly stated or not, there are going to be opportunities having to do with facilities. I just think that's always true. If you look at what's going on our campus right now and what has recently been completed, Schellenkamp Hall, the tennis complex that's underway now, the just completed revision of Abigail Morse, these are very, very important things. There will continue to be opportunities like that are attractive to people who care about ESU and want to support it. So I don't think it's necessarily an either or. It's a matter of of picking out some specific things that may not always be on people's minds, like the ones we presented today, and sort of shining the spotlight on them.
That's well said, David. I would just add that, what we're talking about right now is the leadership phase. And this is the next several months. And if we would go back to last Founders Day and try to predict what the next 12 months would bring, no one would have guessed. And so we're going to pick up a ton of momentum. That is the plan with these three pillars and to strive towards that goal of 50 million. And once we get there, let's reevaluate. Let's see where we're at. Absolutely, there will always be need, demand for remodeled and potentially just new facilities. So let's keep the conversation open there. Reading through.
Hey, Shane, could I chime in on one item here about renovations?
Chime away, Brent.
One thing that strikes me is that a good fit with these campaign priorities and renovations and upgrades to our facilities, with our high impact learning priority, that's a really important one. And we have a lot of classrooms, laboratories, studios, performing arts spaces. We have a lot of spaces where high impact learning and hands-on learning take place. And we have spaces that maybe are not as good as they could be, that need improvements. We also have some rooms where people are teaching, and I think they would love to take their teaching in that room to the next level by turning it into a high impact learning experience environment. But in order to do that, it may require some new technology, new equipment, new upgrades in that room. So I think there's a number of opportunities for couching renovations within the context of upgrading some of our learning spaces so that we can better provide high impact learning to our students.
Very good. Just a couple more questions and then we will sunset this program. I'm having a ton of fun, so I hope everybody else would agree. David, once again, I'm going to start with you, and you kick this around as we need to. With high impact learning, we know a lot of experiences that students get come from their involvement outside of the classroom, and a lot of this has to do with their experience in maybe Greek life or different student clubs, organizations, and that type of thing. Will monies that are gifted to that pillar is that type of experience part of that pillar?
Thank you, Shane. It absolutely is. I think sometimes we automatically first think about high impact learning as directly connected to academics. Well, it can be, and it often is. But when you think about everything that happens in student life, particularly the leadership opportunities that can take place in student life, the student organizations, the opportunity to take a leadership role under the mentorship of a staff member in student affairs. These are terrific opportunities for high impact learning that aren't directly connected to academics at all, although I would point out that it's complementary. That kind of leadership experience can fit so nicely along with the student's academic experience.
Excellent, thank you. Last question, Angela, I'm going to toss this one to you. I'm going to add a little more narrative to the question. I believe the audience member is looking at higher education. They're seeing where we've come from in recent years. They're only trying to guess or predict where we're going in future years. And so part of their question, if I'm reading it correctly, is if we want to talk about legacy gifting, legacy gifting through your estate and those types of gifts, how might they, where do they start? And would that type of a gift count as we're talking about the Together Forward Fund and the flexibility that higher ed's going to need moving forward?
Okay, so that's a lot of questions right there, Shane.
Yep.
So yes, absolutely. A legacy gift will help this campaign and count towards this campaign. So the first thing is, let's look at where you're at right now as far as your estate planning. Do you have a will or a trust in place? If not, or even if you do, We have a consultant, John Griffin, that comes and spends 2 days with us here at Emporia State. He's a free service that we provide to all of our alumni and friends. He has a wealth of knowledge to help guide you to make an impact at Emporia State any way that you want. So then going forward, you just kind of look and you assess, how do I want to make an impact? Is it through high impact learning? Is it specifically to help student teachers? Is it to provide travel assistance for, travel abroad or domestic study as well? We can work on those plans and put those in a document in place. And yeah.
Very, very good. Thank you, Angela. This is
Did
exciting.
I miss anything on that?
I don't even remember all the questions that I asked, so I think you knocked it out of the ballpark. Great job. Thank you, everybody, each and every one of you for taking the time. Thank you for those that continue to be in our audience. Really good turnout for this Founders Day celebration, and just exciting time to be a Hornet. Please keep your eyes wide open, folks. There's going to be black and gold kind of spread throughout campus and throughout our community. You're going to see campaign messaging, the Together Forward campaign messaging in so many different audiences and platforms and things. So when you see that, there's going to be more information coming. But I also would encourage you to, find your black and gold, dig it out of the closet. If you have a flag, put that flag out every day with pride. I know that there are yard signs available down at the chamber if they're still available. I know they're somewhat limited. If not, call our Alumni Association. We'll print more of those things. We want to paint this community, the Emporia community, black and gold. And no matter where you call home, it's okay to proudly show that power. Okay, folks. With that being said, we're going to sign off. Thank you, everybody. Be loud, be proud. Together forward. Thank you.